We're here because you're looking for the best of the best of the best, sir.
Oh, New York Giants are always looking for the best of the best, sir. This is Tim's New York Giants Straight Talk, powered by Big Blue LLC. Want to talk about Malik Nabers for a minute? Want to talk about that quarterback, also named Daniel Jones? Want to talk about potential replacements and the way too early look at the 2025 college quarterback draft? NFL college quarterback draft, I should say. I was watching a lot of college football this week, and it's funny. I've been watching a lot of college football lately. And I usually don't get into the season till later into the season when you get to around, game 7 or 8, because you have a body of work that you've gone through. You see everything that has been going on. You get a better feel for guys that have played against some good teams and some bad teams, and games against some teams that they were well above. And I started formulating some thoughts. When I went into the season, Carson Beck was my guy. And some of my thought processes have changed a little bit, but and you know what? I hate to say it. No matter how well Daniel Jones plays, no matter how well he doesn't play, he is going to be back in 2025. Because of the fact that even if you draft a quarterback, the Giants don't have the balls to get rid of him, eat the $20 million, then turn around and go find a veteran to play ahead of the rookie, till that rookie gets to being where that rookie needs to be. And I know.
You put that evil on me, Ricky Bobby. Don't you put that on us.
I got to put it on us, guys, because it's going to happen. And I always tell people, I say things and people are like, oh, you're always wrong. You never are right about anything. And then 6 months later, they're like, oh my God, you were right. I'm like Novocaine. Just give it some time and it always works. And that's, like I said, he is going to be here for his 7th season. If you like it or don't like it, it's just what it is. I want to talk about Malik Nabers briefly. And I did a short on this, but the New York Giants are going to get this guy killed. They really are. The overuse of Malik Nabers in the passing game is just nauseous. It really is. I've been talking about this now for a couple of days, and some people are finally figuring it out. First option always is you throw it to Malik. Now the second option is you dump it down to Wandell. Our offense is pretty easy to figure out. It's not that difficult. And I don't know if it's the quarterback. I don't know if it's the head coach. I don't know if it's the play calling. But when you basically ignore Darius Slayton, you basically ignore Hyatt. We've all but ignored the tight end position. We barely throw it to the running back. It's basically a 3-man show. It's a triangle. It's literally is the Daniel Jones, Wandell, Nabers triangle. Nabers has been targeted 38% of the time. He out of 130, and I've been talking about this, in 136 attempts, he's been targeted 52 times. That's the highest target percentage in the NFL. Robinson's not that far behind, but Robinson hasn't been that, all of a sudden is not that far behind because he got targeted, I think, 12 times last week with 38. So 66 or I think, I can't remember, 66 or 65% of the time, Daniel Jones is targeting 2 guys. It is basically, we've said this before. I've said this a million times before about Daniel Jones, a million times. He's a point guard that can't create his own shot. And now he's a point guard who can't pass. He's a point guard who is singularly focused on dumping it off to the guy in the middle. And if the center is not available, he kicks it out for the 3, which is going to Wando. Bellinger, I think, has 2 receptions. Well, Bellinger's basically Keaton Smith. I think Theo Johnson leads all tight ends with 3. You have to start moving the ball around. You have to. And I love it. And then people all talk about, well, the Giants also have the highest drop percentage with 10. Or second highest, which is a drop rate of 8.5%. Maybe the drop percentage isn't on all the wide receivers. Yes, there are some plays that were dropped, but it's also that weird phrase that we like to talk about that no one likes to address. It's called ball placement. On the 4th and 6, You throw to the sideline. You throw out of bounds that your wide receiver is being carried out of bounds, has to make an extending catch, play the toe tap game, and then make sure he holds possession and he gives himself a concussion. When you had a wide open Devin Singletary. Ball placement. And I keep saying this, he is going to get Nabers killed. He's going to throw high one day. Nabers is going to try to do this acrobatic catch. And a safety or corner is going to lay him out because he is not protecting his wide receivers. He's not. Daniel Jones, since day one, has consistently and often thrown his wide receivers into contact. The idea of ball placement is not just to place the ball where the defender can't get it and in your offensive player is the best opportunity to catch it. It's also to place it in a way that your wide receiver, tight end, or running back does not take the huge hit, that he avoids that. Daniel Jones just throws shit into contact and it's all good. And we're supposed to sit there and be like, oh, I remember 2 years ago he had the best ball placement I've ever seen. I'm not seeing it. I'm not seeing it. I want to play the full 2 minutes of this clip because someone sent this to me. It was NFL on CBS. And this basically sums up Daniel Jones and the frustrations we have with him.
Oh, boy. Oh, boy.
Why is Daniel Jones still on the Giants? Seriously. And I didn't like the draft pick, and Dave Gettleman was a special blend of ignorant and arrogant, and then the new regime came in, and he was the quarterback, and Daniel Jones earned the return.
This is Adam Shine, of course.
After his first year, where he led the Giants to the playoffs.
Shine on
a
sports.
Playoff road game in Minnesota, but new contract, $40 million a season, that's awful by Joe Shane, and obviously by Brian Daboll. And Brian Daboll's on the hot seat, fair or unfair, and he's a quarterback whisperer, an offensive guru. He doesn't have a guy. And how many times did Daniel Jones have a wide open receiver and there's no zip on the fastball, no pop, no sizzle, no oomph? He looks like Phil Negro meets Jamie Moyer throwing the football, and that's not good. And he's never been a guy, and he's driving Brian Daboll crazy. And the whole game, I thought Dallas was going to win. Yeah. Prescott played great. Lamb played great. To Amy's point, the run defense played great. And that first drive is a sloppy game, flags all over the place. First drive of the second half, Giants march down the field. Overshot with that incredible tackle, saving a touchdown. It's 4th and goal. And you want Daboll to go for it because you're going to need touchdowns to win. I understand. I would have gone for it, but he couldn't because he didn't trust his quarterback to throw a touchdown in that spot. And to Amy's point, they couldn't run the ball. Right. So, Post Malone was in the crowd. He's a big Cowboys fan. I feel like with the Giants and Daniel Jones, my favorite Post Malone song, circles. You just go round and round in a circle. We've had this conversation a million times. I know how it ends. Circles. By the way, the Giants keep losing in prime time. Daniel Jones, great stuff.
Jamie Moyer and Phil Negro football. I think that really sums up Daniel Jones' arm strength. I really do. I love that clip. I thought that clip was fucking awesome. And I laugh because I think it's a perfect dichotomy of what Daniel Jones is for this organization. And that's why I started looking again. And I think that's why I started looking at the draft again, looking at quarterbacks. And like I said, this Sunday was a very interesting Sunday. Carson Beck was my guy going in. And right now through 3 starts, he's got over 1,100 yards and 10 touchdowns, 3 interceptions, 62% completion percentage, 8.5 yards attempt. That loss at Alabama was interesting. It was his first multi-interception game, and I didn't know, and I had to go back and look that Beck has 19 career starts. He was putting together this comeback, but how much of it was a comeback and how much it was just Alabama sitting on the lead? And I get concerned because when Beck plays against pressure, he's not that great. And I don't know if he has this ability to sense the rush. Does he have a little Daniel Jones in him? But he's just this year that when the pressure gets to him, it's not a good thing. And I don't know if this is going to be a thing, because when the pressure gets to him, his off-target percentage goes up. And he's almost at 10. Last year he was at 8.9%. Now he's at almost 10 this year. Now, of course, you could say that he doesn't have, Ladd McConkey and others. But it's just weird that he just doesn't look the same. He started the game, I think he was 5 for 15 and 2 interceptions. And he just kind of seemed to me to get rattled a little bit, which I was very surprised, because like I said, going into the season, Carson Beck, I was like, you know what, I kind of liked Carson Beck. But I'm kind of seeing some Daniel. It's funny because everyone now is going to compare players to Daniel Jones. I'm kind of seeing some Daniel Jones tendencies when the pressure is in his face and it looks like he's going to take the big hit, and he just doesn't have the ability to get out of the way. I wasn't high on Cam Ward going back to Washington. Wasn't high on Cam Ward. But I've watched Cam now in 2 consecutive weeks, and he is something that at times he is just like a maestro. He knows how to facilitate. He knows that he is a point guard. He is a true. He is the early Mark Jackson to Patrick Ewing and others. Against Florida, man, I believe he had 2 interceptions. I think it was 2 interceptions he had, but he was just picking Florida apart. Man, it was freaking great to watch. But then most recently against Virginia Tech, it was a sloppy game, but it didn't seem to bother him. It didn't seem to faze him. He's got to get more consistent with his footwork. He's a little bit reckless. And I think being a little bit reckless is because of the fact that he has so much confidence in his ability. And you can kind of see him ooze that confidence. I laugh because I go back to Malik Willis and I go back to Jordan Love. Jordan Love, of course, is now 0-2 after that loss against Minnesota. And Malik Willis is 2-0. And I was watching the Minnesota game, and you could see a different confidence and this air of something when Malik's in the game compared to Jordan Love. The way the team rallies around Malik. It's kind of interesting to watch. I'm not saying they don't rally around Jordan Love, but Jordan Love was terrible yesterday. And most of it came at the end of the game. His big throws and his big completions came at the end of the game when it was no longer in doubt. He just kind of padded his stats. And it was funny though, because even my wife was like, "Well, why don't they put in Malik? Don't get Jordan Love hurt because you paid him all this money, and why don't you just throw in Malik?" Because the worst thing that they could have done, Matt LaFleur could have done, was to put in Malik Willis. Because let's just say, for the hope of all hope, Malik Willis starts leading the Packers back. Let's say against hope of all hope, but somehow the Packers figure out a way to win this game, and then you have Malik Willis coming in relief, going 3-0, and then you have your $200 million quarterback 0-2. You can't do that. You really can't. You have to worry about that. But like I said, just going back to Cam Ward. I mean, he's got this aggressiveness downfield. And honestly, watching some of him play, watching some of the times that he plays under pressure, he's looking awesome. He's looking great. I think he's 1,782 yards, 8 touchdowns, 4 interceptions, 72% or 70% completion percentage. Yards per completion is 11.1. Cam is just one of these guys. I mean, I'm starting to get a little interested in Cam. I'm starting to see a little Cam fire. Then you got the other quarterback on what's his name, Jalen Milroe. I haven't seen a lot of him before, but he looked really good against Georgia. Is he a guy that I think is going to come up in the draft? Yeah, but if I'm the Giants, I'm still looking at Carson Beck, and I'm still looking at Cam Ward. I think those are the two guys. Sanders, you know what? Sanders looked good against the UCF Knights. They used to be the UCF Golden Knights, but now they're just the Knights. He is a guy, though, if you look at him, he is getting pressured a ton. I think he's something like 35% of his dropbacks, he's under pressure. And he's been very efficient. He's been a lot more efficient than Carson Beck. And he has a lot less talent than Carson Beck. Now, the problem is he tries to force it into Travis Hunter all the time. I think his biggest issue is a lot of times he doesn't look for other options. His option to him is all of a sudden just throw it to Travis, just throw it in the direction of Travis Hunter. I think he kind of breaks off the play just to do that and just kind of just chucks it up there and sees what happens. But like I said, he is a guy that is constantly under pressure but plays well. He's got good accuracy beyond 30. I think he's almost at like 45%. He's generally got good footwork. He's got good pocket presence. He's got good feel. But like I said, he kind of reminds me of Daniel Jones in the fact that he unnecessarily at times forces it down to Travis Hunter. He's got 1,600 yards, 14 touchdowns, 3 interceptions, completed 72% of his pass for 8.3 yards. He did throw a couple picks against the Knights, but you know what? He had some nice, like I said, he had some nice pocket fluidity. He allowed the plays to develop downfield. He hangs in there tough. I think he's got, I just think he's got, I don't know. There's something like when I saw Josh Rosen speak before the draft and when I saw some of his interviews out of UCLA, I was just like, I don't like this kid. Don't like this kid. Don't want this kid. I even did a video about it. I'm like, I don't want this kid anywhere near the Giants. I kind of get a feeling like that with Sanders. And I'm not sure if that's because of the fact that he's got a little Deion in him. And Deion's probably not going to let him go to New York. But I think his attitude is going to be more worrisome to me than anything else. But like I said, he's got that downfield presence. He's got that ability to throw under pressure. Like I said, he's pressured 35% of the time of his dropbacks. He's got confidence. He's got the ability to make the downtown field. He's got the abilities to make the plays. But right now, if I had to rank my three, I'm going to have to take Cam Ward. I'm going to have to take Carson Beck out of that top spot. I'm going to still have to go Cam Ward, Carson Beck, and then Sanders. And like I said, all this can change as we get a little bit more of a body of work. But like I said, I am concerned about some of the things that I saw from Carson Beck. And this, like I said, Carson Beck was my guy coming into the season. I'm still not going to be overly concerned if the Giants draft him, but he's got to fix some things. And like I said, he's got to get some Daniel Jones-less tendencies. Oh, I don't know when we're going to have a live stream, but we're going to have it sometime this week. This is Tim. This is your Giants Straight Talk, powered by Online Big Blue LLC. Don't forget to like, don't forget to subscribe, don't forget to ring that bell because you want to know why. Love you all.